Welcome, welcome, business owning moms, to my coveted maternity leave planning roadmap. Over the next 30 episodes, we are going to be diving deep into how to plan a self employed maternity leave. I will share this with you. I believe that maternity leave as a business owner is one of the single greatest leadership opportunities that we are going to face. I believe that it is tough for a reason. And I believe that it is also very rewarding for a reason. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull back the curtain on one of our most downloaded series, and I'm going to give you guys my maternity leave roadmap. We're going to laugh, we're going to cry. I'm going to give you guys the tactical stuff. I may even make a couple of references and tell you guys some story about how I grew up and how I came to be in the business owner world. But I will promise you this, by the time you listen to at least just one of these episodes, you will have some food for thought, you will have some encouragement, and you will have a tactical takeaway every single time. So let's jump in. Maternity leave can really help set the stage for the future of your business. I remember when I had my first son, Frank, and you guys might have heard this story on the podcast before, but my first son really rocked my world, metaphorically. I was becoming a new mom. I was learning all of the things, and my business at the time was 3 years old. I was still doing fractional COO work, which meant I basically had 5 or 6 jobs. And I always thought of myself as an intrapreneur, not necessarily an entrepreneur. I didn't see myself really as a business owner. Although I had an LLC, it was really, really a challenge to think of myself as a standalone business because I was so integrated into how other people were doing business. And although I still help people do business better with all of our stuff in master maternity leave and my personal brand and an operations agency, there became a time where I needed to separate myself from some of the things that we were doing. And maternity leave was actually the first shot at doing that. So here is the opportunity that you have. First of all, maternity leave and getting yourself out of your business can start to highlight some of the things that you may need to change about the way that you do business. So if you think to yourself, well, I can't even take 2 weeks of vacation, Allie, let alone have 3, 6 months of maternity leave time to be able to be with my baby, then this series is for you. If you're thinking to yourself, well, I love work, and I want to make sure that I can continue to have things moving when I am actually home snuggling my baby. And I just want to be involved and be creative. This is also for you because oftentimes when we work inside of our business, we feel pretty guilty leaving our baby. I know that was my truth. And to be totally honest with you, my experience working a little tiny bit through my first maternity leave was transformational because I really started to feel what it was like to be entirely tied to the creative side of my business. And I always thought of myself as like the administrative operator. It was holding me back for a long time. So that's a new opportunity that you can create inside of your maternity leave. Additionally speaking, you will have the blueprint for how to do other strategic things in your business around taking time off. For example, if you want to plan a sabbatical or a long term absence from the business in the future, if you want to take a month off in the summer to be with your family, we take about a month off with our kiddos every single summer since I took my second maternity leave with my second son. I said, hey, listen, why should this only happen when we first have the baby, right? Why do I need to fall back in on old habits and really deny my children of that time, that sacred time with all of us together? So it really did lay the groundwork for a ton of really incredible opportunities. On the business side, my lack of involvement in the day to day operations of the business. So, removing myself from the administrative features, removing myself from a lot of the nuts and bolts of how we deliver our services at operations agency was a catalyst for our growth and currently still is. So, a lot of the frameworks that we put together to allow me to take a maternity leave from the business allow us to make better decisions inside of the business. We've hired more teammates. Our team at one point, when we were at our height in 2023, we were about 13 or 14 folks inside of the business, almost full time. The reason I share those things with you is because honestly, maternity leave and the process of weaving me out of the day to day operations and being able to put systems in place for how our team thinks, how our team makes decisions, how we communicate with clients, how we communicate as a brand, how we take ownership over projects, how we lead other people inside of the business. Those things have been absolutely instrumental for our growth. So, not only being able to be away from the business and be home with your family and be intentional about that time, but if you have aspirations of growing a business that's larger than what you have right now alongside growing your family, I want you to know that it is possible. I want you to know too that it doesn't happen all at once and we can't focus every single bit of our energy on every single thing we want to create. So, all in time. Now, the other thing I will say about the people side and the growth side of the business is that when I took my maternity leave with my first son, folks started to come out of the woodwork to support me. And some folks ended up not being as reliable as I thought, which is again, all in the experience. But for example, my account director, who still to this day works with us, Lauren, she rose up during maternity leave. She was like, "Hey, I think I can help with clients this time." And I was like, "Great, this sounds amazing." And to this day, she handles all of our client communication and all of our projects. So the reason I share these things with you is because there is an opportunity here. What I would love you to do is write down your intention. Write down the thing that you want to come out of this experience, right? If it were easy, if it were light, if it felt like something that would be impactful for you, I would love to think through exactly what that is. And, write it down, make sure that it's front and center. If you're starting to plan your maternity leave, if you're currently expecting or you're trying to conceive, this is going to be something that you absolutely want to just have kind of be your focus and your intention for leave. Now, if you are in the thick of postpartum, this is also a place that you can feel safe and feel informed about maybe how to restructure some things with baby in tow. It is tougher, but I'll say I did it for my first maternity leave because I didn't prioritize planning, and it ended up being something that I still gained a massive amount of benefit from, even when Frank was a tiny little infant. So write your intention down. Think about what you want to really, really gain going into this season. I think it will be a nice little tether for you when stuff gets challenging, and it can really help kind of guide you through the process. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I cannot wait to see you for the next episode.